Sunnyville, quaint, peaceful, rows of picket fences lined streets named after birds. Days were long and warm, nights were quiet, only the crickets chirping. Everyone knew their neighbours. People smiled at each other in the grocery store. Kids played in the park without worry. Sunnyville was the epitome of small-town America, the kind of place where people dreamed of raising families, a place where time moved slowly and life was simple. It was the perfect place to hide from the world, or so they thought. Daniel had lived in Sunnyville his entire life. He worked at the local hardware store, a job passed down from his father. He lived in a cozy little house with his dog, Sparky. Life was routine, predictable, safe. Daniel liked routine. He liked knowing what to expect. He liked the familiarity of his small world. He never ventured out, never craved adventure. Sunnyville was his haven, his sanctuary. But even havens have secrets. It began on a Tuesday. Daniel was walking Sparky in the park, same route, same time as always. A stranger sat on a bench, average height, nondescript clothes, but his face, his smile, it stretched too wide, a grotesque parody of happiness. It sent chills down Daniel's spine. He averted his gaze, quickening his pace. Just a trick of the light, he thought, a fleeting, unsettling image. He wished he had never looked. That night Daniel dreamt. A single image burned into his mind. The man, his face pale, eyes hollow, that unnerving smile plastered across his face. He woke up with a gasp, heart pounding. He tried to shake off the dream. Just stress, he told himself. But the image lingered, a seed of unease planted in his mind. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows. Fear took root, growing with the darkness. The smile haunted him. Section 5. The Smile in the Mirror. Days turned into weeks, and the unsettling feeling that had gripped Daniel's heart refused to let go. The man in the park didn't reappear. The park, once a place of solace, now felt like a haunting reminder of that eerie encounter. Daniel almost convinced himself it was all in his head. He tried to rationalize it, telling himself that stress and fatigue were playing tricks on his mind. But then he saw it again. The same unsettling presence that had haunted his thoughts. A flash of white in the reflection of his shop window. The smile. It was unmistakable, a chilling grin that sent shivers down his spine. This time it was closer, clearer. The details of the face were more defined, the smile more sinister. He whirled around, heart in his throat, expecting to confront the source of his fear. But no one was there. The street was empty, devoid of any life, yet the feeling of being watched lingered. Just the empty street, bathed in the orange glow of the setting sun. He wasn't imagining things. He couldn't be, or could he? Doubt gnawed at him, but the fear was real, palpable. The smile in the mirror was not just a figment of his imagination. It was a harbinger of something more sinister, something that lurked in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Section 6. Whispers in the dark. Sleep offered no escape. The dreams became more vivid, the smiling man a constant presence. He lurked in the shadows, a silent observer. A sense of dread clung to Daniel, a suffocating weight on his chest. He stopped going out, stopped answering the phone. He became a prisoner in his own home, his sanctuary now a cage. He saw the smile everywhere he looked, in the grain of the wood, the cracks in the ceiling. He was losing his mind. Section 7. The Truth. One night, amidst a torrent of nightmares, Daniel woke with a start. His heart was pounding and his sheets were drenched in sweat. The room was cloaked in darkness, save for the faint glow of the moonlight seeping through the curtains. A sound, barely audible, coming from downstairs. It was a soft, almost imperceptible noise, like the creak of an old floorboard or the whisper of a ghost. He grabbed his baseball bat, his heart hammering against his ribs. The bat felt cold and heavy in his hands, a poor substitute for the security he desperately craved. He crept down the stairs, each step an agonizing eternity. The wooden steps groaned under his weight, each creak echoing through the silent house like a gunshot. He flipped the light switch, his fingers trembling. The light flickered on, casting long, eerie shadows across the room. The living room was empty. The furniture stood like silent sentinels, and the air was thick with an unsettling stillness. He let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. Relief washed over him, but it was fleeting, replaced quickly by a gnawing sense of unease. He was just being paranoid. Then he saw it. His eyes widened in shock, his breath catching in his throat. A note tacked to the wall, directly in the center of his vision. It was an invitation. The paper was old and yellowed, the handwriting elegant yet sinister. It read, "Come find the truth if you dare." His mind raced with questions. Who had left it? How had they gotten in? And most importantly, what truth awaited him? The note felt like a challenge, a dare he couldn't ignore. With a mix of fear and curiosity, Daniel knew he had to follow the trail, no matter where it led. Section 8. The Town's Secret. The note led Daniel to the town hall, an old, imposing building. Its shadows stretched long and menacing in the moonlight. He hesitated at the entrance, fear warring with a strange compulsion. He had to know. He pushed the heavy oak doors open. The air inside was stale and cold. He followed the sound of faint music, a haunting melody that sent shivers down his spine. It led him to the main hall. What he saw there chilled him to the bone. Section 9. Accepting his fate. The townspeople were all there, dressed in white robes. They stood in a circle, chanting in an unknown language, their faces illuminated by flickering torches, and in the center, bathed in an ethereal light, stood the smiling man. The man locked eyes with Daniel, his smile widening into a grotesque grin. Daniel understood. It wasn't a nightmare, it was a ritual, and he was the guest of honor. He dropped the bat, a sense of resignation washing over him. He was home. Section 10. The Smiling Town. In the heart of the valley, shrouded in mist and mystery, lay a town unlike any other. Its name was Sunnyville, but the name was a cruel irony, for the town was anything but sunny. The townspeople closed in, their smiles cold and predatory. Each grin was a mask, hiding the true intentions that lurked beneath. They moved as one, a silent, eerie procession that seemed almost choreographed. They guided him towards the center, their touch firm, unwavering. He didn't resist. It was as if he was in a trance, drawn by an invisible force. The center of the town was a place of dark rituals and unspoken secrets. He looked into the smiling man's eyes, a maelstrom of madness swirling within them. The eyes were windows to a soul, twisted by years of hidden horrors and unspeakable acts. The madness was contagious, spreading like wildfire. He felt a sharp pain in his arm, a coldness spreading through his veins. The pain was intense, a burning sensation that seemed to freeze his very blood. It was a pain that promised transformation, a change that could not be undone. He looked down to see a needle, the smiling man's eyes gleaming with a terrifying joy. The needle was the instrument of his transformation, a tool of the town's dark will. The man's joy was a reflection of the town's twisted pleasure. As darkness crept in, a single thought echoed in his mind: he would smile forever. The darkness was a blanket wrapping him in its cold embrace. His vision blurred and the world faded to black, but the thought remained, a haunting promise. The town of Sunnyville had a new resident. The sign at the town's entrance was a cruel joke, welcoming new souls to a place where they would never leave. Sunnyville was a town of eternal smiles, a place where darkness reigned supreme.